Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming my February wrap up and my March TBR. So I'm feeling a lot better than I was. I'm still kind of recovering. I'm still coughing and gross sick stuff, but I'm going to power through because I've been wanting to make this video and I've been putting it off because I haven't really had my voice completely. So we're just gonna dive right into the books that I read in February. I actually did manage to read quite a bit, which I'm kind of surprised by, but given that I was sick, I guess it kind of makes sense. Okay, so I read 5 books and 6 graphic novels in February, which is record-breaking for me. So I'm not gonna go into too much detail about these books because I did read quite a few. The first book that I read was Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. I read this as a buddy read with Diana over at Dee's Journey, and I will link her channel down below. Definitely go check her out. I enjoyed this book. To be quite honest with you, I don't remember as much about it as I would like to remember because I read so many other books after this one. I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars, so obviously there was something about it that I liked, but at this point in time I can't pinpoint what it was exactly that I liked about it. And that could be partially due to the fact that I've been sick, and it could also be due to the fact that I have the worst memory in the world. But this book I did remember enjoying, and I think pretty sure there's gonna be a sequel, so I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't say that this is my favorite of hers, although I haven't finished reading the Darkest Minds trilogy. I've only read the first book in that series, but I remember liking that probably a bit more than this one. I do recommend this book if you like Alexandra Bracken, but at this point in time I can't give you anything exactly that stood out with this book for me because I don't remember, and that's sad. And maybe I should start doing weekly wrap-ups, but I don't think I read enough for that. So moving on. The next book that I read was Underwater by Marissa Reichart, and I have a review up for this book. I will link it down below if you want to check it out. I loved this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I'm not going to talk too much about it because, like I said, I did a full review that goes into detail about the synopsis and what it's about and the characters and blah blah blah. So if you want to check it out, link down below. Then I decided to pick up In a Dark Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, and this is a suspense thriller novel, and it deals with these women that go to a hen party, which is like a bachelorette party, and they go to this house in the middle of the woods that's like, the house is weird. It's like everything's made of glass. Like it's got these really big open windows, and you know, it's just really creepy, and weird stuff starts happening, and it kind of goes back and forth between present day and then this main character being in the hospital. So it's kind of like trying to figure out what happened, and it's weird that she was invited to this bachelorette party because the bride is a woman that she hasn't spoken to in 10 years, and they used to be best of friends, but something happened and they were no longer speaking to each other. I wish that I had liked this book more. I did give it 4 out of 5 stars, but thinking back on it now, I think I might have rated it a bit too high. I mean, it was good, but I think that it was a bit of a letdown as far as the suspense aspect of it, because some of it I could kind of figure out on my own, some of it I didn't, so I don't know. It was okay, but I don't think that I will ever reread this book. I do recommend it if you like suspense thriller novels, but don't expect it to blow you away. So after that, I read Lumberjanes Volume 1, and that is by Noelle Stevenson, and I checked this out from my library on ebook, and I really enjoyed it. I was kind of surprised that I liked it as much as I did. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. As far as graphic novels go, it was really cute. I liked the illustrations. There's not much to say about it. It's a pretty basic graphic novel, you know, with the enjoyment factor pretty highly up there. And because I liked it so much, I went ahead and picked up Volume 2, which is called Friendship to the Max, and I enjoyed this one just as much as the first one, and I also gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I realized that I hadn't picked up a classic this past month, so I was like, I need to pick out something, and I wasn't really in the mood to read a classic. And I don't really know if this is categorized as a classic, but I decided to pick up Transformations by Anne Sexton, and I don't know if a lot of people know about this. It's poetry, and it's like really jacked up poetry based around Grimm's fairy tales. So I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. I didn't like it that much at all. It was okay. Some of the poems were better than others. I liked the illustrations throughout the book. That's probably one of the main things I liked about it, but the book itself was just, it was okay. The poems were okay. I just don't I didn't really like it that much, and it was really weird. Some of the stuff that was said in the poems were really strange. I even read one of these out loud to my husband and got kind of embarrassed while reading one to him because it talked about stuff that I didn't really want to say out loud. So yeah, this is definitely like an adult content poetry book thing, but it was okay. I was a bit disappointed because I thought I was gonna like it much more, considering that it was like a spinoff from Grimm's Fairy Tales. I thought I would like it, but I really didn't. So then I picked up Truth Witch by Susan Dennard from my library on their e-book website thing because I wasn't really too sure about buying this book. There's a lot of hype behind this book, and me and Diana decided to try to buddy read it. I hated it. Well, hate's a strong word, but I really didn't like it. I DNF'd it after 50 pages. I don't even know. Let me see where I left off. I got 27% done with it before I gave up on it because I didn't understand what was going on. It was very confusing. Being like high fantasy, there wasn't a lot of talk about like where they were and what time period and what was going on. It was very confusing, too much stuff going on at one time. I didn't like it. I didn't really like the characters that much. I couldn't bring myself to power through it, and I hate that because a lot of people really liked it, but I couldn't do it, and I'm glad I didn't buy it. A lot of people I know really liked this book a lot more than I did, and that's their opinion. My opinion is that I didn't like it. So after that, I decided to pick up You by Carolyn Kepnes because this book, I've seen it everywhere, and I've been wondering what all the fuss is about, and I was able to get it from my library on ebook, and I loved it. It was so good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's basically like a story about a stalker, and it's told from his perspective, which is different, and I haven't read a book like that before. I was very impressed with it, like getting an inside look at how this person's mind worked. It was really cool, and I'm really excited to pick up the sequel, which is called Hidden Bodies, and I'm actually thinking about purchasing this book sometime because I really want to add it to my collection because it was that good, in my opinion. I loved it. So after that, I picked up Amulet volume 1, 2, 3, and 4 from my library. They actually had all 4, which they never have. I read the first volume, The Stone Keeper, a couple of years ago, and I never continued on with the series. So when I saw it at my library that they had the first 4, I decided to pick them up and just kind of power through all of them at once. And initially I had given The Stone Keeper Volume 1 a 5 out of 5 stars, but as a reread I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I actually ended up giving Volumes 2, 3, and 4 out of 5 stars as well. Now I really did like this series, and I love the illustrations. I think that they are very well done and very pretty to look at, aesthetically pleasing. The storyline is pretty interesting, I think, but it's unfortunate because my library doesn't have any more of the volumes. They only have 1 through 4, and I checked their online catalog and they don't have any more, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't really want to buy them because they're such quick reads, but they're really fun, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna continue with it or what I'm gonna do for that, but I really like the illustrations and the storyline. It's just really cool to me, so I really enjoyed those. So those are all of the books that I read in February. I ended up checking out another book from my library called Ice by Edward Myers, and this was not necessarily on my TBR for March, but I picked it up at the end of February and finished it very recently, and I really enjoyed it, and I will talk about it more in my March wrap up, but I wanted to show it off before I have to return it. So now we're gonna get into my March TBR. So the next book that I have already picked up is A Madness So Discreet by Mindy McGinnis, and I'm only about like 40 pages into this book. So far, I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. It's very intense, and it deals with a woman who is in a psychiatric hospital and she's been mute, and there's a lot of like family secrets and stuff going on. Like she is pregnant and doesn't say who the father is, but it's kind of hinted at, and it's kind of disturbing. But so far I'm enjoying it, and I do plan on finishing it. I'm hoping that I'll like it more and that it will continue to pick up the pace a little bit, because right now it's a little bit slow, but I am looking forward to continuing on with this book. Now there are 2 books on my TBR this month that were also on my TBR last month, and they got put on the back burner, and the first one is In the Woods by Tanya French. This book has a lot of hype. A lot of people really seem to enjoy this novel, and apparently this is the debut novel for this author, and it's a psychological suspense type novel. So maybe I'll get to this one this month. I'm not really sure because I have some really big books on my TBR this month, which you will see in just a second. And I have some other stuff going on this month, but I will get to this one. Whether it be this month or next month, I will get to this one. The next book that I want to read this month, or at least get halfway through this month, is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I've never read this book. I've only made it through The Prisoner of Azkaban, and I really want to finish this series because I need to. It's like required that I finish this because I really want to finish it. I feel like I've missed out because I haven't finished it yet, but this one is huge and they just get bigger after this. So hopefully I'll get maybe halfway through this one. If not more, that would be awesome. Another book that was on my TBR last month is Feverborn by Karen Marie Moning. I didn't get to it last month. I think that the idea of reading something this chunky was a bit daunting because I was sick and still am sick. So I'm not sure when I'll read this one. I want to read it this month, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. I really want to continue reading about Mac because I love that character so much. And if I don't get to it this month, then I'll get to it next month. And the last book that I have on my TBR is a book that I've never read before, and it is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. And I feel bad that I haven't ever read this, and I feel like it's something that needs to be done, kind of like Harry Potter. I'm obsessed with The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, all the movies. I'm obsessed with them. I love them so much, and I don't understand why I've been putting this one off for so long. So I'm definitely gonna try to read this one. This one's not very long, it doesn't seem to be, but as far as the writing style goes, I'm not too sure how fast I'll power through it, but we'll see what happens. That's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully I'll be making a couple more videos here in the future since I'm starting to feel better. If you haven't entered my 500 subscriber giveaway, I will link it down below. It's actually the previous video. So head on over there and enter to win. It closes on the 14th at midnight, and it is for a $15 book of your choice from Book Depository. So if you haven't already, enter that, and all the details about it are in that video, so go check that out. So that's gonna be it, you guys. Let me know in the comments below what books you plan to read this month, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. So I should pull it up on my phone so that I know what I'm talking about, correct? Yes. First, although I haven't finished reading whatever that other series is that she wrote. My opinion is that, okay, yes, I know my back door is open.